We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Close the damn door, man. You're letting all the Wi-Fi out. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Hold On, I'm Almost There, a show about life's little annoyances, personal growth, dad life, and so much more, with your hosts, myself, Uncle Frank, and our very own Tom Mungia. Kid Gristle is out of the office this week, hanging out with baby chickens at his cousin's farm somewhere in Oklahoma with his family. Hey, shout out to Kid Gristle. Hope you're having a great time out there. So have a seat, do them chores, or twist a wrench while we dive down the rabbit hole. And now here's Tom to fill you in on what's going down. He's got some Leprechaun stats and our Name That Tom contest update. Tom.
Yeah, so I wanted to fill everybody in on the plan for the nickname. We've gotten some really good suggestions, some great ones, and some that I'm kind of worried that might actually win. But when we decided to do it, it's March Madness. Everybody's got a bracket. They're doing a bracket for this, a bracket for that. We decided we'd get in on the fun, and we're going to do a bracket. So as this is coming out tonight, it's Friday, we're going to release a bracket. We're going to show you the 8 finalists that we have. And every couple of days on Twitter, we're going to release where everyone can vote. So this is going to be an actual contest, an actual bracket matchup. The winner moves on. And finally, we're going to have the show right before the Final Four in April. We're going to have the Final 2. And people are going to vote. And the winner, that's going to be my new nickname for the show. And I'm hoping y'all help me out and get me a good nickname. So everybody be on the lookout. Like I said, as this show is coming out, it's Friday. You're going to see the bracket, the full list of the 8 names, but in every couple of days, you're going to get to vote, and the winner moves on, just like the March Madness.
And just also, like the March Madness.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. I filled out a Kiss bracket, favorite Kiss album today.
Oh, okay.
Sent it in. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's great. You know, everybody has fun filling out these brackets.
Sure,
so we figured we'd get in on it and let everybody join and participate in what we've got going on. And don't forget, the winner's going to get that cool hoodie that Carlos is working on. So.
Oh, yeah, awesome. And some stickers. We're ordering more stickers.
There you go. They're going to say podcast this time.
Yes, they are. Even if I have to write them again, they will say podcast.
And instead of doing a sponsor of the day, we're going to do, since we're recording, it's Wednesday, it's March 17th, it's St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to do some fun leprechaun facts that I was looking up today. Of course, everybody knows a leprechaun is a sprite, a pygmy. It's a fairy, they say, of diminutive size who always carries a purse containing a shilling. So we read all these books, the Charles Dickens books growing up. So I'm sorry, how much is a shilling? Well, come to my surprise, a shilling is actually $20.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
So then you've also heard the term where they use the term a pound. A pound is 20 shillings. That's $400.
Oh, crap.
So when Charles Dickens was talking, he was talking about some big bucks back in the day with Charles Dickens. Yeah. Man. No wonder Ebenezer Scrooge didn't want to give up no shillings.
Oh, kidding, man.
So, but of course, we always picture them in the green. Well, prior to the 20th century, it was generally held that a leprechaun wore red. So it was the opposite. Remember we gave the Santa Claus facts?
Yeah.
And he wore green and then switched to red. Well, leprechauns wore red, switched to green. And
well,
I didn't know this.
Carrying around all that money, it probably was around Christmas time. I mean, man, $400.
There you go. And what I did know, we think of them being small, these tiny little. Officially, a leprechaun is about 3 foot high.
Okay.
3 foot high. He's dressed in a little red jacket, or they called it a roundabout with the red breeches. Which, and I was looking at all these pictures. They're small. They got the beard, the mustache. They think they know it all. They got these crazy movie opinions. Where is Shane today, as a matter of fact? Frank?
Oh!
They like to frolic in the woods.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Yes, that is Shane.
I'm just saying. It's St. Patrick's Day. Shane's not here. Where is Shane today?
He's out wreaking havoc somewhere.
There you go.
Carrying around his.
He's a big fan of the other leprechaun, Tom Cruise. I'm starting to put these two and two together. So we're
Shay. Where you at, Shay?
One more interesting thing I found out about leprechauns. Now, have I ever told you about my Viking heritage?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, you're waiting in line at Walgreens or CVS to get a prescription filled, and you see those boxes saying like test your DNA.
Oh my goodness.
So finally, I did it. And it was a big deal with my family. We're all waiting to see the results. 7% of my DNA comes from, it's called an area of the world called Finnoscandia. This is Norway, Iceland, Sweden. I am part Viking.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I guess I'm officially getting. I'm going to get one of those helmets with the horns on it. I can now root for the Vikings when they're doing good in Minnesota. So 10%. I'm 7%. The 7% times that they're doing great, I'm officially going to be a fan of the Minnesota Vikings. But here's how it relates to leprechauns. Leprechauns tend to avoid humans because, according to one very old legend, one of these kindly and magical fellows was tricked by the Vikings into revealing where their secret treasure was. Now, if that's somebody tricking a leprechaun, if that's not a Mungia move, I never heard of one. So this treasure was hidden in a really beautiful garden that was protected by a magic spell. Only leprechauns could enter this magical garden, and their green clothing allowed them to enter unharmed. The legend says that a Viking, probably a Mungia like me, who had been rescued when his ship was destroyed, became friends with the leprechaun. The Viking played a trick on the leprechaun, we'll call him Shane, by pretending to be ill. The leprechaun was kind and took the Viking to his house to recover. He told the Viking stories about the magical garden where the treasure was hidden underneath unusually large 4-leaf clovers. The Viking made a plan to get into the garden. His friends helped, and they managed to steal the hidden treasure. And this is why leprechauns now avoid humans and distrust them.
This sounds like the entire Avengers series.
Yeah, that's my story. My story's fantastical.
Oh my goodness. I mean, because you have these people looking for the Infinity Stones.
Yes.
And you have Thor, which is the Norse god thing.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, this is crazy. And then you have what's his Banner when he's not the Hulk.
Green.
He's a little guy, yes, and he's green. I mean, man, all the puzzle pieces are fitting together. I don't know.
It's a small world we live in.
It really is. And I guess maybe my mind is so set on that is because I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I had never watched this show, didn't pay any attention to it whatsoever. And we were looking for something to watch the other day, and lo and behold, I was like, you know what? Let's watch this. 3 episodes in, and I'm staying up late to watch this thing, and the time change hit too, so it the clock says 11 but my body says it's 10, so it's like, oh, one more show, what could it hurt?
So it's good,
oh yeah, it is. It's really good. I like it, and I'm not really one to go out and like find new shows just for the sake of watching a show. I'm sure it helps too that I'm not watching it with commercials. I could not imagine watching this on regular TV where I had to sit through commercials, because it would be an hour and a half long, I'm sure.
I've been watching the other one with the witch, Wanda.
WandaVision.
I think I'm like on episode 8. I've got like 2 more left. Man, it's a really good show.
Oh man, I don't know why. I see, and I'm not going out of my way to watch that. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't. Oh
man, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's just not one of those. Like,
Folks, you might have just heard this might be the last episode you ever hear. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan.
Yeah, I've never watched an episode.
Oh man, you're missing it. I've read the entire book series about 5 times.
Really?
Those are big books.
Oh wow.
I'll tell you a funny thing. You brought it up, and the Grammys were just on the other night, right? And they always show the in memoriam where they show all the people who passed away. Mm-hmm. Well, we're such big fans, me and my wife. We go to the Game of Thrones concerts when they come to town. It's a gigantic symphony. They put on this gigantic spectacle. Yes, I mean, it's awesome, just visually, the things they do. But at the end of every concert, Game of Thrones was very famous for killing off everybody. They would show like a whole list.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, maybe I was going to watch it, and then you're all hyped up about it. Now you tell me everybody dies. I don't know if I want to watch it anymore. Thanks a lot, Tom.
But they always die like in a shocking way. Like you're just totally like, you never expect it, the way they die. But at the end of these concerts, they have like this thing called In Memoriam, and they show like a very sad thing, and they show all the characters of who died, and and how they died, and the audience, of course, they cheer for their favorites that they love, and of course the villains, they start booing as they show them on the screen, and it's really hilarious the way they do it, because they try to play it real emotional and sad, but the fans, they're getting involved in booing and cheering. It's great. It just to see the spectacle that they put on for this concert. Oh man, it's worth it.
I thought you were still talking about the Grammys, where they're booing people that have passed away. That is terrible. How about would they do that? But you're talking about this concert. Okay,
yeah,
that makes more
the Game of Thrones concert.
Okay, okay. So anyway, so since this week is spring break, and with spring break, we've only got a couple more weeks until summertime hits. You're either taking a break from college or, out of school, whatever. Tom and I were talking about getting that beach body prep work in now. Limited time. Yeah, limited time until, if you're one of those people that, wants to take their shirt off by the pool, or, you want to wear those little shorts by the pool, got to have those legs ready, you got to have the muscles ready to go. And so we're going to talk about that. I've been doing a few more things here and there. And, Tom is always on top of his game. He's always making sure that his physique is just right, making sure that his food is right, when to eat, what to eat, where to eat it. So we're gonna jump into that. This was so much fun though, talking about these talking about Game of Thrones, and now how this is gonna be Tom's last show because I've never watched Game of Thrones. Man, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna quit on me. But
now that would be a Game of Thrones twist.
Oh my God. For anybody that watched Game of Thrones out there, throw us a comment on this one and tell me if there's a particular character from the show that would do what Tom just did to me, and like, hey, I might quit because you don't watch it. It's just like Shane. He's like, I'm gonna quit because you haven't watched Clay Pigeons or whatever that movie was. The 6 movies that he's always trying to push on to me. I had to take a drink. I was starting to get a little parched there, man. So jump into it, Tom, man. Let us know what is it that you're doing. Are you doing anything extra special now that summertime is coming in? Because we all know, you've got your Monday motivation. You're in the gym when you're not at work. You're making sure that you're eating clean. If I'm sure folks have seen you on Twitter and all your other social media posts. You got the shoulders, you got the arms. I mean, that Rambo picture that you posted the other day, I was like, oh my God, this guy looks like he's really gonna stab this lady. She was
my wife.
someone from Scooby-Doo, right?
Yeah, Daphne.
Yeah. I was like, poor Daphne's being held hostage by Rambo. Like, how did that mashup happen?
But for everybody out there, we have 11 weeks. Well, it's not quite 11 weeks, about 10 and a half weeks until Memorial Day, which I can't believe it's that close already. And a lot of people look at that as the official start of bikini season, right? For those people that do like to be in shape, like you said, for the summertime, and, you go into the beach. Hopefully we can go to the beach this year, right? We didn't get to go last year. People can get back on vacation, get to wearing their Bro Glow, lathering it on.
Right.
We got all these unused bottles of Bro Glow sitting in the cabinet. Well, hopefully this year we can use them. And it's coincidentally, we're bringing up this topic. you brought up my routine. I've actually changed my routine.
Oh,
Than what I've
okay.
talked about here on the show. Everybody knows me or that asked me, I'm a big proponent of the intermittent fasting, which for me was I would stop eating at 8 o'clock in the evening, and then I wouldn't eat till noon the next day. That's a 16-hour fast. They call that a 16-8 intermittent fasting. Well, for me was a problem was I was getting too skinny, right? That doesn't sound like a problem for some people. But for me, you know, when you're working out and you're trying to put on muscle size, I was getting too skinny. I was getting too small. So I said, you know what? I need to change things up. You know, sometimes things you have to go through a phase where you change things up, you know. So what I did, I went ahead and lowered the 16 to 14. So now I do what's called a 14-10. So now I stop eating at 10 o'clock at night, which basically all that means is I still eat a meal at 8. Then at 10 o'clock, I take a protein shake. And then I eat again at noon the next day. So that gives me a 14-10. Plus, now I've added an extra meal. So I'm trying to get my amount of protein. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get my protein. And I'm seeing results. You know, you start to put on a little bit of size. Little by little, you put on a little bit more size. So hopefully when summertime comes, I'll be getting to where I want to be. And plus, you know, you don't just, when you add a meal, you don't just go to Whataburger and get a, you know, number 2 with cheese.
Yeah,
right. You got to be sensible.
But that's not gonna. Exactly. You ain't gonna get. You're gonna get.
Exactly. You're right. You
results
can.
of that.
Right. You're gonna get bigger, but not the kind of big you want to be. So, you know, like I said, even when things are working, sometimes you got to change. And like we're talking about my intermittent fasting schedule, we've talked to Carlos. If anybody saw the interview with Carlos, Carlos only does 12 hours, and he's getting all the results he wants. You know, everybody's body responds differently to what they're doing. And you just have to give yourself, you know, enough time to see how your body's responding. You might get frustrated if you're doing 12 and you say, oh, this is not working. I got to go up to 16. Well, stay at 12 for a couple of weeks because your body has to figure out what you're doing and how you're feeding it so it can adjust itself. And who knows, that 12 might end up being the perfect number for you. You can always go up. You can always go down. It doesn't matter. You're not locked into a certain number. Just start somewhere, but give yourself time to get the results you're looking for. I thought you were going to say something about that.
No, we were we were running into like some weird glitches there for a second, man. A couple of the words came across a little glitchy, but it's all good, man.
Too excited.
You know, you were. That's all. I was like, ooh, goose brava. Take it down. I don't know if your excitement was causing interference with the Wi-Fi, and you know, it's just. Man, you're just like getting into it. I saw you're getting ready to just like poking your shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking about that's how I talk so loud. I get all animated. I used to practice, you know, my wrestling interviews when I was a little kid, standing in front of the mirror, yelling at myself, you know, what I was going to do, the Rock and Roll Express or Hulk Hogan. I was going to get him next time he was in town. So yes, so I get a little bit animated. And speaking of animated, a very important aspect to all of this, between especially with your workouts and doing cardio, is the music you choose, right? Sometimes, you know, I go in, there's times, believe it or not, I've actually listened to opera. It depends on what type of mood you're feeling, what kind of vibe you're into. And for me, you know, I go from opera to metal to reggaeton music to Spanish music to country music. You know, whatever vibe you're feeling that day, I suggest having a playlist already in your phone that you can choose. And speaking of playlist, I put that playlist on Twitter because last week we were talking about Fast and the Furious, and I talked about how much great music they have. I put a playlist that I've been working out to all week of nothing but Fast and Furious music because I've been in that kind of vibe, and it's just gotten me hyped. So, you know, whatever you want to do, and also for your cardio, a good thing to do that people, it kind of surprises me that they don't do. You're stuck on the treadmill. It gets boring. It's monotonous. You're just sitting there and you'll catch yourself just looking at the clock ticking down, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for the 30 minutes to go by. Make you a playlist on YouTube of music videos so that you're watching the music videos instead of the time. It takes your mind off of what you're doing. You know, it takes your mind off of all the monotony. Hey, I don't like doing cardio just like everybody else does it, but I find a way to take my mind off of the suffering, basically what you're doing by engaging in something else. So I go and I find all the new music videos, the new movie trailers. Man, ask my family how many times they hear this King Kong versus Godzilla movie trailer blasting throughout the house while I'm doing cardio.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the whole trick to everything. It's the stuff we don't like to do. Put your mind onto doing something else. Distract yourself from what you're not liking to do, which is being on the car. For me, it's an elliptical machine or the treadmill. And you put your mind on the things that you do enjoy and that you do like watching and you do like listening to. One of the biggest questions I always get asked too is about cardio. Like how much am I supposed to do? How hard am I supposed to do it? I don't like to use the term cardio, actually, although most people understand what you're saying. I like to use the term fat burning, right? Because I'm trying to burn the fat. Well, that's what we're all trying to do. But cardio is more of a cardiovascular strengthening. You're strengthening your heart muscle to be more cardiovascularly fit, which is a higher intensity than what I do. Because if you start going too high intensity, your body will respond by saving that fat and burning muscle for fuel, which we don't want to do that, right? We worked hard for the muscle we have. We want to keep as much of that and burn as much fat as we can. So the trick to doing that is there's a formula, and it's very simple. It's you take the number 220, you subtract your age. So I'm 49. So 220 minus 49 will give me a number of 171. The proper fat burning percentage that you want to be of that 171 is anywhere between 65% and 75%. So what's a good number in between? 70%. So I take that 171, I take 70% of that, and my proper fat burning heart rate is 119.7, which is 120. So that's what I do.
Too much math.
No.
How much do I gotta sweat before I get there?
It's simple. Once you figure it out, once you know your number, that's it. For me, my magic number is 120. And I keep that at 30 minutes or 40 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling, how much time I have during the day. And I try to go no higher, no less. If you were doing it for cardiovascular reasons, you'd want to be like at least 80% and above, which would give you a higher heart rate. But like I said, you're getting into the danger of burning your muscle, which we don't want to do. We sit there work, which I don't want to do. There might be some people that don't care. They for health reasons, maybe they do need to work on their cardiovascular, exercises. Which there's no law that says you can't do, switch it up during the week. There's no laws to any of this stuff. You have to do what's working best for you. But the whole point of the thing is it's all trial and error and finding what works best for you. There's no law that says you have to do a treadmill over an elliptical machine, inside or outside, jumping, whatever. Some people like to do those up downs, your only concern needs to be at having your heart rate at the certain number that you need to have it at for the certain amount of time. How you're doing it, it doesn't matter. When I was in quarantine, I was outside on the balcony at the hotel doing jumping jacks. Do you know how hard it is to do jumping jacks for 40 minutes?
Are you serious? You did jumping jacks for 40 minutes.
Jacks like a maniac. Yes.
How many jumping jacks could you do in 40 minutes?
I don't know. I didn't count.
Moly. I'm going
to tell you something crazier.
I don't think
I wasn't the only one.
There's no way.
There were people, because where we were at, it was like downtown in Midtown. And, so there's all these different condos. I'm not the only one out there on the balcony doing that. There were people doing those up downs, push-ups, because at that time back in April, Corona was really hitting big and everybody was afraid nobody would go anywhere. So you would see like practically all of the people on their balconies everywhere doing some form of exercising. So I really didn't feel that silly because I wasn't the only one.
Okay.
But yeah, you look
crazy. That's crazy.
You want to get in shape?
So what made you change up your diet plan?
Like I said, I was getting too skinny. I didn't like the way I was looking. I was getting to a point where there's a term that people like to use for your muscles where it's flat, FLAT, or when you're trying to get a good pump and you're trying to get your muscle looking all big and all swollen. Well, sometimes if you get too thin, it's not pumping up like it used to, and that's how I was feeling.
Or you go eat some carbs like you said you do.
And I would, and that's when I knew something was wrong. That's because it wasn't working, So
weird, man. So how long have you been doing the 16? What was it? 16/8? You said?
Yeah. Man, it would probably go back about a year that I was doing that.
So okay. So I wonder if maybe you need to change it up like sooner than that, like every 6 to 8 months, maybe.
Well, you can. I mean, there's certain people who their personality, they like to be regimented like that, right? Where they like to have it all planned out in advance of what they're going to do. And I am like that with certain things too. But I like to get into a comfort zone, and I'll stick with something until it stops working, and then I'll change it.
Right.
I'm just of that old adage: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's what I do. Now there's other people who are the opposite. Like I said, they have a regimented system of this is how I'm going to do it for this long, and then I'm going to do this and that's fine. Once you find your system, as long as you're going to stick to it, I don't care what you're doing, stick to it. Where people fall off track is they won't stick to the plan that they had for themselves set out, and then they just quit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you don't notice changes because you're looking at yourself every day.
Right.
It's crazy. We had some family over this past weekend, and I haven't seen some of them in over a year because of COVID. And even my brother-in-law was like, "Wow, man, you've lost quite a bit of weight." And I was like, "I did." It was like I knew I lost a couple of pounds, but I didn't really notice it. And I was like, oh, okay, like his compliment made me feel really good. I was like, oh shit, okay, like
of course it did, yeah.
I was like, wow, man. So I'm
going to tell you something crazy. That just is going to sound crazy. Now, when I really started getting hung up about it, was people started telling me, man, Tom, you're looking so skinny. Now, of course, they're meaning it as a compliment, but to me, psychologically, I'm saying, you're right. I'm losing so much muscle and I'm looking like this, twig, and, so it was further, making me look in the mirror and say, man, dude, you got to change it. You got to do something different.
It's funny that you say that. So I went and visited Carlos over at Ugly Guppy. I think it was last Friday, as a matter of fact. And, I was looking through his shop. I was going to pick up some shirts, and I was looking through all the shirts. I really liked a couple of them that he had there. They were great. And I was like, oh, man, you don't have my size. He's like, I don't? Like, he was puzzled, like, really? And, he's like, well, what size are you looking for? I was like, man, I always wear a large. Like, I like to wear a large T-shirt. He's like, that's weird, man. He's like, he's looking at me up and down. He didn't say it, but I could tell on his face. He's like, bro, you don't wear a large. Like that's gonna look like a dress on you, kind of a thing. And then he kind of chuckled to himself. And he's like, you and Tom can switch. Maybe y'all need to switch, because Tom comes in here and he buys medium shirts. And here you are, you're smaller than Tom, and you want to buy large. And I wanted to tell him, I was like, bro, I've been husky my whole life. Like, I'm chubby. And so I like to hide it a little bit, and the large shirts help me do that. But yeah, I told him, I was like, well, the minute that Tom gets home with that shirt, the sleeves come off. Boom, they just fly off. So, I mean, yeah, you can wear a medium and it looks great. Because you ain't got no sleeves, but I'm over here trying to hide the chub, man. That's all. But it's gonna go away. I'm gonna feel good this summer when I'm at the pool and I take my shirt off.
You will,
because I'm gonna have some bro glow shining.
Hey, but you're halfway there. Like I've told people before, you've already got the before picture.
Yep.
You could be in the fitness magazines, right? You got the beautiful before picture.
Oh,
we just got to get that after picture. And we will. You got plenty of time. You can do it.
Yeah, for sure. So what I've started doing now as a part of my daily regimen, so as everyone that's listened knows, I go to martial arts twice a week. But I started doing the pre-workouts, which are known as the mompogi. It's Korean for body conditioning exercises. So it's about 15, I'd say about a good 15 minutes of breathing and moving your muscles just so that everything's all nice and warmed up. And then I'll knock out, 50 to 100 push-ups. I've got these little bars that I use to do push-ups.
Awesome. Yeah.
I just went out and got myself a 2.5 pound weight, and I tied them to a rope, and I have a small, like a small dowel rod, and I'll
stick.
Yeah, basically a stick. Well, I don't want it to make it sound like I went out.
You're trying to be like
Shane.
You're trying to be like Shane.
Just went out into the woods, got me a stick off the tree. Anyway, so I twisted like you're twisting a wrench, tying up that rope, making it go all the way up and down. To strengthen up my forearms and hopefully scare away whatever carpal tunnel might be living in my arms, because I'm a keyboard samurai. But yeah, just trying to incorporate those things. And then I've also started running on Saturdays, and hopefully once all this time change stuff settles, I want to try to run at least a mile a day, if not a mile every other day. And if y'all been following me on Twitter, y'all see all the posts that I've been throwing out there, the toys that I'm talking about right now, and my runs that I've been doing on Saturdays. Saturday seems to be the only day I can wake up and I don't feel like I've been run over by a time truck, because man, I get up Monday through Friday and my eyes hurt. I blame it on the Shield, that new Shield show, and the time change.
Yeah. I had to wake up this morning at 3 to go to the gym, and I was like, man, I was angry actually this morning. I just did not want to I was so mad at that phone for ringing. Oh my God, that was terrible. But it's funny you mentioned about the pictures you posted. I saw the picture with the stick and the weights, and I'm like, because I had just given you we were talking about the golfing, and I was like, this guy's serious. Yeah. This guy's getting his forearms ready because he wants to be cranking this golf ball against me. Up, man. I'm like, man, I got to get ready. This guy's serious.
I am. As much as I want to put on my own handles for the golf club, I think I'm going to take them to go get them done this time. And then when I'm not so anxious to get them done, I'm going to do them myself. But I went to Golf Galaxy the other day, and I held the extra. So they have the slims, the medium, and then the larger grip.
Right, yep.
And the larger grip felt comfortable to me.
Did it? Okay.
And I was like, my hands aren't gigantic by any means. Right. But I was like, man, this feels pretty nice. So I was going to put, maybe one or two of those grips on one of my not so often used clubs, and then go with the medium grip that I always get on my other ones. But I went out to the driving range, and like I noticed all the little markings that I have while I was like, I watch Golf Channel, and then I'd go out to the driving range and try these things out, and I'm like, okay. Right. So I have to turn my club face in because I have a wicked slice. It's just all these little things. I've got Sharpie marks all over the place on my clubs. My thumb goes here, pinky goes there. I've got to have the dot facing the ball here. All these little things that I'm gearing up for. But I can still hit the ball pretty well.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I didn't massacre there. And I was able to hit pretty straight after, maybe 5 or 10 balls. I was hitting them pretty good.
Awesome. As if I don't have enough on my plate. That's also something that I would love to do is become a golf instructor. That's one thing, when I've gotten with my friends and been able to help them, and the joy when you see their look on their face when they hit that ball and it comes off right.
Oh yeah,
man, you can't describe that. Well, the only way I can say it's like hitting a home run. When you hit it and you just feel it and you just know, you don't even have to see it. You just know, it's just the sound, the feel. Oh man, it's a great feeling, man. It's addictive.
It really is. Oh man. It is so addictive. I can remember I started quote unquote golfing when I lived in San Antonio. One of my coworkers took me out to a driving range right there by our office, and I was like, what is this? I'm not an old man. I don't want to go golfing, whatever. And I didn't think Hispanic people golfed. I had heard of Chichi Rodriguez and his little sword fighting. But I was like, this isn't for Mexicans. I ain't trying to go out there and golf and whatever. So I went out there with him, just because we were drinking. We had a couple beers out there, whatever. And he's like, yeah, man, here, give it a try. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I was playing baseball with the golf club, basically. I was trying to kill the ball. And this old man, he must have been, I'd say, probably in his 70s. Maybe 80s. He looked pretty old. And he was hammering that ball, but he was doing it with such finesse. Right. He wasn't killing the ball. He was just out there to have a great time. And I was like, I've got to be I'm over here competing with that man now, all of a sudden. Right. Dropped the beer. I was like, all right. I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, teach me how to hit this ball, because I'm going to hit the ball like this old man over here. Right. And he's like, well, rule number 1, don't try to murder the ball.
Right.
Just make contact and you'll see it fly, because the club does all the work for you.
That's the whole key. Yes. I'm glad you said it. Yes.
And once, it wasn't that day. I tried to go back to that same driving range to see if I could find that old man to ask him, like, hey man, how are you hitting the ball so well? Because he would shift through, he would hit 3 or 4 balls with each one of his clubs.
Right. And, yes.
I guess as a treat to himself, he would hit a few more with his woods. So he's out there with his driver hitting 5 or 10 of them after he had gone through the whole iron set. And so that's what I will not go to the next one if I've got, balls hooking or shanking or anything like that. They all have to go straight before I go to the next one. And then as a reward, I take out the driver and, I'll go to town a couple of times. But yeah, so much fun. So much fun. I love to get out there and golf. But yes, that is exactly why I'm cranking up my forearms so that I can get an even better golf swing out there.
And one of the things, important things you just said about you don't move into the next club until you get a good swing with the one you were working on. And you can apply that to anything, working out, whatever. When you left that ball to move to the next one, to the next club, you wanted to leave with a good memory. Mm-hmm. Of the last one. And that's very important, especially in golf, because when you're standing at the golf ball for real out there on the golf course and you pick up a 9-iron, your memory is going to go back to the last time you swung that 9-iron. And it's important that that memory you have of the last time you swung is a good memory. The last thing you have is, I hit it good with this club. And that's the same thing with working out, with some type of exercise or anything that, in life, really.
It's crazy that
whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing in life, whatever you're working on, you want to leave with a good memory. So when you pick it back up, when you start again, you go back and you have a good memory to fall back on.
And so, and the reason I say it's funny that you say that is because I realized that, and I'm talking about work. I realized in my work life that whenever I read an email or a text message, even from people, I hear it in the last tone of voice that I spoke to them in person in or over the phone. And that has helped me out so much because you can't read tone in a text message or an email. You just, for me at least, hearing that person whenever I'm reading their text message or email, hearing that person the last time I spoke to them is exactly how I read what they sent me. And being able to know that that's not necessarily the tone that they're trying to project. And man, that has changed the course of my career exponentially, knowing that whenever you read something like that, there isn't always a distinguishable tone behind the words.
Right.
So just, a chunk of cheese for you out there, folks.
Right. They're just words.
They are, man. Holy moly.
Don't read so much into them all the time.
Yeah. That is just something that I do too.
No,
I
that's great,
overanalyze things.
We
way
all do
too
that.
much
Yes, we
sometimes.
all do that
Oh my
to an
goodness.
extent.
Yeah, crazy. So, as a treat for everybody, I know we've been rambling on about golf and prepping beach bodies and stuff like that, our diets. Tom said he had a really funny story, so I want him to share that with us now.
Speaking of getting bikini ready, I have a kind of like a bikini story, and it did happen around spring break time, as a matter of fact, which our kids are having right now. This was going back to the early 2000s, and back then I used to have this really nice truck. It had the 4 doors on it. It was what they call a crew cab. It was black, all leather interior, sunroof. I mean, this truck had everything, right? And it was still pretty brand new. Well, it was during, I think it was a Sunday, and I had to go run an errand somewhere. And back then, I have 3 little boys. Well, they were little back then. And they always, of course, they wanted to go with Dad whenever he's going to go somewhere and just go for a ride. Because they knew I was going to be blaring some music and, just whatever. They enjoyed, back then they used to enjoy spending time with me. So we got in the truck and we're driving, and we just so happened to go by this park. And it was one of these parks. It wasn't Memorial Park, but it was one of these parks where everybody would like to go, especially on Sundays, and go cruising through the park. So I said, you know what, let's just go cruise through here, just, see what's going on. The boys will be able to see people out there playing in the park. And it's one of those parks where, all these families are all gathered. They're barbecuing, playing volleyball, throwing the Frisbee, or like Shane playing Frisbee golf or whatever they do. I don't know. But, there's girls everywhere, of course. And it's bumper to bumper. I mean, you're barely moving at a walking pace in your vehicle as you're going through. So we're going through real slow. And like I said, I had the music, it was bumping, I had this I still remember the song that was playing. So we're there. We got the windows down, sunroof open, driving through real slow. You there? You there? You there, Frank?
Sorry.
I'm here.
Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're going through the park, and we're cruising. You there? You got me now? You got me?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
So we're cruising through there, of course my sons, they're looking, seeing what's going on. Well, as we're driving through really slow, there's this group of girls. There's about 4 or 5 girls, and they got on these little bikinis, and they're walking, and as just to show off to my sons, right? Because they're looking around. They're trying to act like they're not looking, but they're looking. And we pull up next to them. I said, "Hey, where y'all headed?" And they go, "Oh, we're just going over there, to the other side of the park." But it's hot. They're all, like I said, they're in little bikinis. They're sweating. I said, "Well, y'all want to ride?" And my sons, they look all startled. They're all shocked, and they're like, "Yeah." So I said, "Well, get in the back." So the girls, there's about 4 or 5 of these girls. They all jump in the back of my truck.
Whoa.
So now we're feeling good, right? I cranked that music even louder, and it's some reggaeton song, and it's boom, boom, boom. So they, being, young girls, what do? They start dancing. they're dancing in the back of the truck, shaking their butt, shaking their boobs, hair's going everywhere. And my sons are looking like, they're enjoying it. They're trying to act like they're not enjoying it, but they are enjoying it. And I told one of my sons, I said, hey, stand right here, right there in the middle console, right? So he stands on the console and he's standing up through the sunroof. I said, hey, boy, wave at that girl, man. So he's there and he's waving, and they wave back, and they're blowing him little kisses and stuff, playing along. We're all just having a good time. It was an innocent fun, right? So we're getting there. Well, finally we get to the end of the park where they wanted to go, and they hop off, thank you, whatever, we said bye, okay. My sons, they're all smiling, whatever. I go and do my chores for whatever we were going to. I forgot where we were going to go to the store or something. And it's all well and good. I'm thinking they're little boys, they're going to forget about what happened. I was wrong. A couple of weeks later, we're all, as a family, we're sitting there in the den, and we're all watching TV together, and we're just chilling. And I'm going with the remote control, flipping through the channels. All of a sudden, out of the blue, my son, he jumped off of the couch and he runs to the TV. And back then, we had the big screen TVs back then. We didn't have flat screens. We had it was like a big box, right?
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm talking about? So he stands in front of the TV. He says, Dad, go back. I'm like, what? He said, go back. So I start clicking back, through the channels. And I'm like, and he goes, no, go. And I keep going. I'm going really fast. I go, no, you fast. So I went back. And by then, my wife, she's sitting there too. She's like looking like curious, like what's going on? Well, it's a video channel. And this song is playing, and it's bumping, it's going. And I can see he's like looking at this song, and I can see like the little wheels spinning in his head. And I'm like wondering what's going on with this dude, right? Like, does he like this song? Like, what is he got? And all of a sudden he told me, Dad, that's that song. I'm like, what song? What are you talking about? He said, that song. I said, what? What are you talking about? That song when we picked up all those girls at the park and they were shaking their butts.
Oh, no.
And of course, my other sons, now they chimed in because now they remember. Oh, Dad, I remember. Dad, you remember? And they're like pointing up. Dad, you remember? It was so much fun. And my wife was just looking at me like, what? And, of course, I was about, I was ready to say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But, once all the sons jumped in, I'm just sitting there, I just look about, and I just busted out laughing. What else could I do? I just busted out. I said, yeah, I remember. That's a good song. And of course, they were all proud of themselves. They remembered. They weren't trying to bust me, even though they did. Of course, we had to talk later about how you keep your mouth shut. That's one of the things. The next day when Mom wasn't there, then we had a lesson about you keep your mouth shut. You don't say things. Our secret, what happens, what happens in the truck stays in the truck. Don't be, running your mouth and telling Mom the next day. So, but yeah, man, that's the girls in the bikinis story.
I thought you were going to tell the story of maybe how you were at that HEB where that lady wore her 10 face masks. She made a bikini out of 10 face masks and tried to walk the HEB or something. That's where I thought this was going. You got called on because somebody, smacked her with a shoe or something for being indecent. But you're picking up booty shakers in your truck, amping out to reggaeton. Tom. I'm a little jealous. People probably think I'd kidnap them. Me trying to offer a ride, but.
Well, like I said, that was a long time ago. I still had black hair back then. It wasn't white like it is now.
Okay. Oh my God. All right. So that about wraps it up for us tonight. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us. Don't forget to keep an eye out for Tom's new nickname. As he said earlier, we're going to have a bracket breakdown. We're going to be posting a couple of names every day. Let them duke it out. Hopefully y'all chime in on Twitter and pick the name that you like the best. Once that one wins, it goes on to the next round, and we'll continue going down the bracket. And the winner will receive this awesome hoodie. Are we allowing them to pick their color that they want for this, or is it a
sure? No,
is it a specific color?
We can do that. Sure.
Okay, I know that we've gone into all the finite details, but if you have a favorite color, we'll make sure that you get that hoodie in that color. We're also going to be printing out some more stickers. I finally ran out. I handed my last one out today, and they'll keep going. And just as a note of gratitude to everyone, we have officially hit 700 downloads for 30 days.
Awesome.
So over the last 30 days, we have hit 700 downloads. And I was checking the numbers, and we need about 33 downloads a day to hit 1,000 downloads a month. That is my new goal. Is I want to see if we can hit 1,000 downloads a month. And man, that will be so exciting, and that will definitely let us know, even though we're doing this for fun, it will definitely let us know that people like to listen to what we're talking about. You're getting something out of this, because as therapeutic as this is for me, just being able to talk to Tom and give out information that we go through, that we talk about, those downloads tell us, hey, somebody's listening to this. Right. Somebody's enjoying this. And leaving a review would be, so much more than we could ask of you, because, putting in reviews for something, it's there forever. What your words leave a lasting impression to somebody that may or may not want to check out the show. So, if you have time, that would be fantastic. Leave a review, even if it's like, hey, I don't like you, your show is not very good. Throw it out there, that'll help us get better. We can tweak something. We can, change a few things here, because we're always evolving.
So you're saying if I said that about you, Frank, you wouldn't be that offended about it?
I hope not. I hope not, because I'm sure I would dwell on it for a minute, but then I'd be like, hey, you know what?
Let me log in right now. I got a bone to pick. But no, everything you're saying, people talk about some of the things we say motivate them. Well, if they make any kind of comment that lets us know they listen, man, that I know for me, that's motivating to me. It gives you almost like a little sense of purpose that, hey, man, there is somebody out there listening to what we have to say, and maybe we entertained them. Maybe they learned something. Somehow we helped them with something. So yes, man, because it's not easy to always get on here and try to be in a good mood and be upbeat and ready to go. But when somebody's listening and somebody's trying to get something out of it, man, for me, I'm just speaking for myself, it's super motivating, actually.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Keeping, part of the show is keeping a positive mindset. How can we continue to put that out every day if we're not trying to do it ourselves? So yes, there are crappy days out there. Oh my goodness, trust me, there are those days. Don't want to do anything. You feel like you can't do anything, but we try to be as professional as possible. This is something that we love to do. I definitely love to do it. Countless hours spent behind the keyboard, editing and releasing these things out to the wild, hoping that you like them, hoping that you're getting something out of them, like we're talking about. And, it's a labor of love. It really is.
It really is, yes.
So, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And once again, check out the contest. Don't forget to donate a couple of bucks to Carlos too. I haven't checked. I know last week we were at 20 shirts. We're 20 shirts away from hitting our $1,000 mark.
And that's so doable. 20 shirts.
It really is. Let us know. We'll get those shirts out to you no matter where you are. We'll get them out. We want to get those things out. We want to help Carlos. We want to make it awesome for the folks that are going to be receiving these funds, so they can, put it where it matters, get it where it counts. $5, $10, $15 get you a shirt. $5 will get you a couple stickers. Let us know. We'll throw them out there to you. It's good times for a good cause. And we're just a couple of guys trying to do good things.
Right. And it's like, when you go into, I've got on a shirt now from when I donated blood. It makes you feel like, man, I did something, I actually helped somebody. And that's how you'll feel when you put on that shirt. It sounds, it's so easy to say, but it's true. Every time you put on that shirt, you'll be reminded of, hey, man, I actually stood up and I did something and I tried to help somebody out.
For sure. So once again, thank you so much. Leave us a comment if you like what you hear. Throw us a recommendation out there. Put some comments. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your abuelita.
Suggestions of what you'd like us to talk about.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll talk to you later.
Everybody, stay sharp.
And I'll say peace for Gristle because I know how you live. Peace. So.